Hey everyone, and welcome back to another episode of A Little Bit of Everything with me. Today I have a returning guest, Mr. JV Torres from the podcast The Rise of King Asilas. Welcome back to the podcast. How you doing today?
I'm feeling pretty good these days.
Well, I'm
I'm pretty
happy.
stoked.
Yeah, I'm happy you're doing well, but I have to congratulate you for the second time on winning an award from the Latin Podcast Awards. Oh my gosh, what a show it was. I
Yeah.
cannot believe it. But before we even get into it, tell my new listeners, the new audience, about your podcast and what you do.
So I'm what they refer to as an audio dramatist. So basically, it's audio theater. It's funny. I had some people over my house earlier, and I was playing a couple of scenes for them. These are horror movie filmmakers, and so we were kind of. They said, well, they wanted to kind of know a little bit about the show, and then they said, well, you do more of a political show. I'm like, no, actually, it's not a political show at all. It's really borders on horror in some places. It's very graphic. It kind of tells the story of an American king who's on this quest to conquer the world, essentially. But there's reasons for him wanting to conquer the world is really what the theme and the core of the theme of the show is. And that's, I think, what listeners like to sink their teeth into in that part of the storyline.
And it's so well done and it's so detailed, and it's like you're really intaking of what you're saying, and especially you've got different characters, different voices as well. It's not like you're doing a narration. So there's so much happening, and it's just like, oh my God, it's an audio movie kind of.
Basically, yeah. And so like there's like I was saying, I've been working with this group of filmmakers, but they're more on the side of horror. And so they're really interested in certain parts of the story to turn it into a short film, a horror film of some sort. And they just keep wanting to push me that direction. I'm like, okay, I'm game. I'm looking to see how we can work with this. So it's starting to branch off into more things, really, Angelica. It's just been an audio theater thing, but it's also now starting to branch into the first novel is coming out soon, and we're going to be making a movie.
Oh my gosh, that's so cool. So tell me about this process so far about making the movie. Like, it's so much work. There's a lot of, who can I trust with production? And it's like you got to start finding your crew.
Yeah, we were actually in the process of starting the very first short film based on the podcast, but then the coronavirus pandemic hit. This was right around February, March, and we were still we were actually in the audition phase of this process, and we had actually selected the actors. We had already contacted the actors, and we had gotten confirmation and acceptance to do the roles. And then then it all just fizzled out because nobody wanted to get together because of the pandemic. And so right now, I'm working with a different group of people who are a little bit more brazen. They're like, we're going to do this anyway, coronavirus or no coronavirus. So we're taking, safety steps, of course. We're taking precautions and we're doing it, with social distancing and masks and all that good stuff. But we're still moving forward. And I think that's the part of this group that I'm working with now, that there's part of the old group. They're just more, I want to do this now. I want to get to it. And I'm with that whole.
And that's
feeling.
amazing. That's amazing. You found people that are really to move forward with it, obviously taking safety precautions with it. But it's like, it's such a great podcast and a great storyline that it's like, how could you not move forward? And I know it's difficult, but like it has to happen.
Sure. Yeah, I'm a fearless dude anyway. And I don't know if you were aware, I didn't announce it on Facebook or anything. I did tell people that I work with back in June, I had actually contracted the coronavirus.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. My wife and I both had that in June. And we went through like the whole quarantine thing, and we suffered through that, the whole high fevers and all that good stuff. But we got through it.
And I'm
Yeah.
glad you both did because that's, everyone's kind of on their toes. Like, oh my gosh, if even if you're sneezing, all of a sudden you're overthinking it that you could possibly have it. And, I know during these times it's just crazy. And for us, it's like, we're going back a stage because our numbers are just elevating really high. And how has this whole experience affected you? Did you learn something about yourself once you recovered from the coronavirus? Did you feel like a sense of like, oh my gosh, like, oh, I conquered this? Or was it more of, eh?
Well, I will tell you, it's pretty frightening. Okay.
Yeah.
I won't lie. I was pretty worried, and my kids were worried. My wife was very worried until then she got it, and we were all worried.
Hmm.
Um, it's scary. I won't lie. It is scary. You go through those feelings of helplessness at certain points because you experience symptoms that you're not familiar with. Like, it's people say, well, it's kind of like a flu, but it's more than that. Like, you lose your sense of taste, you lose your sense of smell. And like, I will share one thing with you. I was in the shower, and I like to use really strong scented shampoos, either mint or flowery or whatever.
Yeah.
And I had this. I remember distinctly, like I'd gotten this shampoo that was very, very minty, really strong minty scent. And I remember sitting in the shower, and I had this thing lathered, and I put it in my face, and I literally dug my nose in it, and I couldn't smell a thing.
Wow.
And that's when it hit me, like, oh my God, I can't smell anything, like nothing. Walk by a trash bin, nothing. It's like, walk into a public bathroom, nothing. Dirty gas
Oh,
station, no big deal.
wow. And
Yeah.
was that one of your first symptoms? Because I'm hearing that a lot of people are saying, well, I didn't get any symptoms and they were tested positive.
Yeah, that was the first sign. And then
Wow.
that's when I got really concerned because I was having a fever and I was coughing and whatever. And I called my doctor. And so my doctor, it was a virtual meeting, of course.
Hmm.
And she's like, yeah, I'm going to send you to get a test. And she sent me to John Hopkins, which is like the best hospital in the world. And sure enough, I got called that very afternoon to tell me
Wow.
that I tested positive. And it was really weird because you can't taste the food because when you can't smell, you can't taste either. It's like,
Wow.
it was really weird.
Oh my
That's it.
goodness.
And for somebody who likes to eat, like, what could be more horrifying than not being able to taste your food?
Yeah, for real. And what
So,
advice could you give somebody who's kind of like thinking this is a joke because there's a certain population in every country that think this is like a joke? We need our freedom back. Like, how could you close these places down? What advice could you give somebody?
well, don't think it's a joke, all right? It's not a joke when you have lots and lots of people dying from it. And having experienced it myself and going through it, it's clearly something very different than anything else we've ever experienced. I mean, you could say that it's has similarities to flus and whatever. There are some, but believe me, it's not the same thing. So it's not something to play around with.
Mhm. Well,
So I
I'm
understand when people are talking about, yeah, we have to take precautions. People who haven't had it,
Mhm.
um, yeah, you don't want to get it.
Mhm.
You really don't want to get it.
Well, that seems a lot more like it's scary to even hear it. And coming in from you, I'm just like, wow, I'm glad you and your wife are doing really well now and you guys are healthy again and
Yeah.
moving on to your daily lives. But what has the pandemic taught you?
Um, it's really kind of taught me that no matter how strong you think you can be and how much you can endure physically, there's a psychological aspect to it. There's a certain depression that comes with an illness like um, with coronavirus. And I'm not somebody who suffers from depression. I'm not that kind of person. I just don't.
Mhm.
I'm kind of like, I find the silver lining in anything.
Yeah.
But it's taught me that, depression is a real serious thing. Like, 'cause before I probably didn't care that much, or I really wasn't aware. Is really, I think, a better way of putting it, of how serious depression can be for somebody. People are, who suffer from depression is, there's really this lull of helplessness that you just can't pull yourself out of, no matter what anybody tells you. And I think that there's a lot of that that's really kind of getting going to the undercurrent of all this pandemic that is probably like another silent enemy that we're all facing. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
how can we not be depressed at some level with all the craziness that's going on in the world?
Mm-hmm. No, it's true. And it's everybody's being affected by it. Everybody is being affected. And, I'm hoping more and more people can learn from this experience for those who are kind of like, oh, is this a joke or what's happening? But, thank you for sharing that. I really appreciate it. And I'm glad both of you are healthy again and getting back to that normal, that new normal that everyone's trying to figure out, because some of us are working from home, some of us are still going to work, and it's just, we have to adapt to these changes.
Sure. I know that the doctor that I spoke with, my primary care doctor, he says that, and I'm not an expert, so don't think that what I'm saying is gospel. But people who have had it and they build up this resistance, if you will, it becomes. I'm not as afraid of it getting. I don't want to get it again. They say you can get it again, but I haven't experienced that. Um, but I really don't want to get that again.
Hmm. No,
But
for sure.
apparently, somebody who's had it has built up some kind of resistance.
Okay.
I don't know for how long. She says that we just don't know. There's a lot of mystery behind
Hmm. Yeah, definitely a lot. Now, into the positive side of things,
it.
you
Please.
are two times award winning, 2019, 2020, for Best Drama at the Latin Podcast Awards.
Yeah,
Tell me your excitement.
I'm pretty stoked. I mean, my wife and I were high fiving last night when we were watching it. When you and I were actually on Instagram going back and forth, and you were saying things that I'm like, "What are you congratulating me for?" I didn't. And then that's when I realized, oh shoot, I better go back and keep watching, because after we lost to the CNN program, I'm like, it's over. But no, I went back, and then we won it for the drama category, and I was like, yeah, this is awesome. It's a pretty good feeling. Well,
That's
because
amazing.
you get the cold shoulder. I'm not gonna mince my words here. You get the cold, at least I do, from a lot of people, and especially in the kind of setting that I do with audio drama. I'm not dissing anybody particularly, but they seem to lovely and warmly embrace each other, and somehow I get kept out of that little circle, as are a lot of great programs. So when we win an award like this, it's just more validation for me that what we're doing is good,
Hmm.
and I
Hmm.
don't really care or need, you know, all the little fuzzy people on Twitter sphere if they care, if they don't, you know.
But I honestly, this was my first experience, and it was my first time, learning about it, especially from you when you won last year. And I was kind of intrigued by it. Like there was this other community happening. And so I was nominated, and it was like, I can't believe this is happening. Like it's the award show itself. That's where I was still kind of like on this high of like, my podcast is going to be on this. Like
Yeah.
it's a crazy experience what I was feeling. And seeing your podcast cover art come up, and seeing it there and being like even named, I was like blown away. And they did such a fantastic job for it to be virtual.
Mhm.
And I loved how we were part of a WhatsApp group, and then you were able to watch it on the website. But then there is technical difficulties, and they were able to put it on YouTube, and it was even better because I was able to send that link to my family, and just tell them, hey, just watch this, like, let's see what happens. But I felt like it was super well organized, the way they just pre-planned this whole thing for this one night. I was blown away how they did it. And I didn't expect to win. I honestly did not expect to win. There was really top dogs there, people who've been podcasting for a long time who have, you can hear their production. Like it's just quite up there. So it's such an overwhelming experience, and I'm still kind of like shocked about it.
Well, you know why I think, and I know that last year I felt it because you don't expect, because you don't we're for whatever reasons, I'm not suggesting that we get discriminated against, so personally I feel like I do. Um, but when you get in that community, that like the Latin community, the Latino community, the Hispanic community, because that's who we are.
Mhm.
Let's face it.
Yeah.
You know, and to get that kind of recognition finally, because if you have to break into the Caucasian world or the African American world or that world, we're honestly we're not really of that category, even though we all want to be inclusive, and they use that word a lot about inclusion and diversity, but somehow we always end up getting left out of the conversation. That's how I feel about it.
Hmm.
Now, I could elaborate, but I won't. And I'm just happy that we won. I'm just happy that we're there, because honestly, you do have a good program and you deserve that award. And I believe we have a good program and we deserve that award. And I'm just happy that somebody recognized it.
Yeah, no, I thank you. And, it's true what you're saying. It's like, being able to be recognized is such a big thing, and kind of giving you that reassurance like, okay, so I am doing a good job. So I can just keep doing what I'm doing, and, just make someone's day. And, for you as a drama series, it's like, people are probably they're hung up on it. Like you're in what, season 4?
Yeah,
Are you
we're
almost
going.
done?
We're gonna go 6 seasons.
Okay.
Um, I told my wife and I we come to a compromise. I'm in this thing for 3 more years. We're gonna probably end the series at that point, and then branch off, because I'm really setting the groundwork for going into films. That's where I want to go.
Yeah.
I want to move from audio to film.
That's
So I have a
amazing.
3-year plan to move this thing along with the novels, and putting out a couple of short films, and then going into like a feature at some point.
Yeah, that's amazing. Have you pitched it to Netflix? Because I know they were looking for creative ideas during this whole pandemic, because they were kind of like, okay, so where do we go from here?
I'm gonna hold off on Netflix on another. I mean, there are other. I think that for me, it's. I don't like to play fantasy too much with that.
Hmm.
I know a lot of people like to throw that at me all the time. I get it a lot, and sure, I would definitely jump at it if HBO or somebody said, yeah, but then at that point, I lose all creativity rights of it.
Sure.
They will basically do whatever they want to with it. They will turn Silas into transgender or something, and they'll do whatever they want to with him, and that's not where I want to go.
Yeah.
I want to be able to have a creative hand in how the show is produced, because
Hmm.
it's a very dramatic, and it's a very serious story, in spite of all the like to throw comedy in there. So it's satire, dark
Yeah.
satire, and I want it to stay original in that, and that's just how I feel about it.
Yeah.
I
Hey.
mean, I'm willing to have that conversation. Don't get me wrong,
Hmm.
but if you're gonna sit down and have a conversation with me about it, I'm no fool.
Hmm. I see. Like it's true. Like you come up with this idea from scratch. You've gathered your best people to play these characters, and for somebody else to jump in and kind of say, all right, well, this is such a great idea, but we're going to make changes here. We're going to make changes there. We're going to take this character out, and we're going to add in a different character. So I understand where you're coming from. It's your creative, it's like your little baby. It's like you want to keep it to yourself and your team, and still create and be on the same line of where you want it to become. So I completely understand that, and I'm excited to what you come up with this short film. Like, wow, that's
Yeah.
incredible.
No, it's so what somebody was asking me about it, and they're like, well, what if they, and I said, first of all, I don't like to play fantasy, number one. Number two, I'm not in it for that. Like I'm used to not getting that,
Yeah.
my whole life.
Hmm.
I'm, I'm used to it. So like, if you're not offering me, it's like, can't miss what you don't have. I don't care. I'm gonna keep doing what I do,
Hmm.
and I think there's a lot of loyal listeners to the show that like the way it is. They like that it's gutsy and gritty and ballsy. They like that, and I'm gonna stick to that
Hmm.
because that's what the show is.
Yeah. And that's what made you keep going with all these seasons. It's pretty remarkable.
I figured by now, if there was something. I mean, I know there was something that went down on Reddit, maybe a year or two ago, maybe a year and a half ago. Um, I'm not even going to entertain that nonsense anymore. But I know there was a lot of going back and forth with some people on Reddit about the show. But it was really, I had a lot of people come to the defense of the show, and honestly, I don't lose any sleep over it, man.
That's
You know?
amazing. That's amazing. Yeah, because it's like social media can be a curse and it can be a good thing at the same time. And, for you to have that, shut off and forget what other people say, that's really awesome. And you just keep doing what you're doing.
Hey, I got two of those trophies now, so clearly I know what I'm doing.
That's right. That's right. What did your team say, your crew, that you guys won another award for 2020?
Pumped. We're just pumped, and if we win no other awards, we've been nominated for the Audioverse Awards. I think, were you guys on that too or no?
No, I don't think
Yeah.
no.
So the Audioverse Awards is another. I think it's mainly for audio drama. So we're in there. Um, and to me, like, those are the two big ones for me, and I'm happy. Like, just being nominated, I'm happy. It's I'm not trying to make it's a fictional story. You see, it's
Mhm.
like it's fiction. It's different than what you do.
Yeah.
You talk about a lot of things that are the day-to-day life, and you make connections with all these products and all these things that are going on, and your shower karaoke things are a riot. So you make people laugh, and you have that vibe about it. People listen to my show, and it's all just it's a fantasy world. It's kind of like dystopian, and what's going to happen next, and they like the scary part of it, and they like the satire of it, and it's a getaway. It's like an escape from reality. I don't want to bring the things that are going on in our reality in this world, in this society, what's happening now in the current. I don't want to bring that into the story,
Mhm.
which is I think what a lot of people want to do all the time.
Mhm.
They're like, well, whatever's trending now, or whatever hashtag that's going on, they want to stick that in their show, and they want to force it into their characters. And if that's what they want to do, by all means, man, do what you do.
Mhm.
This is not what I'm going to do, and
Mhm.
that's just why I think people who are diehard King Asilas fans die hard, because they know that it's going to be what it is. It's original.
Yeah, definitely. It's a great show. I'm a bit behind. I'm still on season 2.
Also, you're in the reptilian stage. Ooh, I love season 2. I absolutely enjoyed playing season 2, and what you're gonna love is the guy, the voice actor who plays the Pope in season 2, comes back in season 4, but he plays like 4 different roles. He's such a great actor, Mike Marshall. He's from Australia.
Wow.
Fantastic voice actor. He's blind, but he is such a great actor, voice actor. I love working with him. He's so much fun to work with.
Wow, that's amazing.
Yeah.
Wow. You've got a great group of talented people, and it amazes me like how well put together it is. And I encourage everybody to check out the Rise of King Asilas. It's they're 4 seasons in, but hey, they'll always be there.
Yeah, they will. And I honestly, there's no. I mean, I say 6 seasons, but we'll see.
It might go to 10.
It might go more. Let's see how many people download the
Yeah,
show.
yeah, for
The
sure.
numbers, the analytics are what really drive sometimes,
Mhm.
Angelica. Honestly,
Yeah, no, for sure. Definitely. I
when
agree
people
with that.
When people stop downloading it, I'm like, okay, well, I'm gonna hang it up. But right
Mhm.
now it's cranking, so I'm good.
That's good. That's amazing. That's fantastic.
Hey,
Oh
so
my
you
gosh.
haven't got your shirt yet, right? You're gonna get one.
I haven't gotten it yet, but I will get one
You're
soon.
you're gonna get one. It's probably not gonna look like this one. This one's last year's design, but
Mhm.
I'm curious to see what they come up with for this year.
Well, this year they asked us to vote on the design that they come up with because they
Yeah,
had
I
like
voted.
two different options, I think, or four.
Do you know which
So
one they chose?
I don't think they showed us. I think they're just kind of keeping it as a ta-da.
Surprise! I'm so happy for you, because you won, and I know you. I think you got some new sponsors now, right?
I don't yet because it's been really difficult, especially, being in Canada. Most of the sponsors that I apply to are American, and it's just that how is payment going to be done? Can you do this? Can you do that? And I found for myself kind of like wasting so much time on pitching and writing the sponsors, and it does take time. It's obviously no walk in the park. It's you got to put it together, you got to really pitch it, you got to send your audio clips, because for those who don't know, you got to send in audio clips. And
Mhm.
I felt like I was just wasting so much time, and then it would take forever for them to call back to tell me yes or no, or not even get a no. So I kind of just said, you know what, forget about the sponsors for now. If somebody wants to approach me, they will email me. And I've kept it kind of sponsor free. I do help with friends who have certain events happening in the city that are turned into virtually. I'll definitely do that for them, no problem, at no cost. So I'm just trying to, like, focus on the content, focus on my guests, and not put too many sponsorships in. And if they, like I said, if they want to come and approach me, they can email me. We can talk about it. But I just realized it was just so much time consuming. And, for me to go into the city and, for example, ask a real estate agent, hey, I'm a podcaster and I notice you have a huge following. Is there something that we can do together? I just feel like it's just the time. Like, I already work a full-time job, and then I've got the podcast, and then I do volunteer for the Learning Disabilities Association, where I'm
Mhm.
doing virtual speaking events. It's not every day, but I'm focusing on that, trying to change like the theme of the story, of how I can, share my story in different ways depending on the topic. And there's just so much happening for me, and it's just like, okay, let's just hold off on sponsors and just keep creating content for the podcast.
No, I totally understand that. Um, we've been fortunate, that we've always had the publication company that sponsor the show. I mean, that's our main bread and butter.
Mhm.
And this season, we actually picked up a few new sponsors, which is pretty exciting. And it's like you said, it takes a lot of time. Luckily, I'm not working alone anymore. I have like 4 people that work with me now as
Mhm.
part of that team. So there's like this media team that works with me now, and so it's much easier, I think, when you have other people than when I was just writing solo the first season and even the second season. Um, it's really really difficult to do everything because you're like an octopus. You have like different things going on at the same time. You know.
Yeah, that's me right now.
I totally feel you. It's not easy. It is not easy to get sponsored. Audio dramas, especially, it's really difficult because it's a niche market,
Mhm.
and it's usually like with us, it's just really spread out. But having that Latin community connection, I think, has helped out. We picked up a sponsor. Um, it's a clothing line called Legally Latin, which is really cool. They got some really great shirts and stuff, and
Yeah.
um, that's just one. There's a couple other ones that we got going,
Mhm.
but it's like you said, it's a lot of legwork.
Yeah, it is. And then the fact that, I'm still doing everything. I'm editing, I'm producing, I'm scheduling guests, I'm doing it all. I'm doing all the social media stuff. And I don't just have one social media page. I've got four. I got my
Mm-hmm.
photography business. I created a merch line. I'm doing so much more. So it's like I felt like, what, sponsors, it could hold off. It comes, it comes. If not, it's okay. Like, it doesn't really bother me because I'm still passionate what I'm doing with podcasting. And, it's to me, it'd be nice, obviously, in the future to make this a full time thing. I think everybody does. But at the end of the day, it's more of like, let me just focus on the content, maintain my audience, and, just keep going with it.
Well, we have the publication company's got a whole. We're putting out. First of all, we're putting out the first novel pretty soon. So that now the pandemic is starting to loosen things up a little bit economically for us. So we're going to be actually sponsoring a couple other shows too for that. We might put in something for you guys, you know, and get the word out about the novel, get the word out about some of the other books that are being put out by the company.
Mm-hmm.
So you might actually pick up your first sponsor right here.
That'd be awesome. But I'll do anything for you
I
with or
know,
without.
I know, but this is you work hard and you should get something for it, other
Well,
than just personal goals and whatnot.
well, I really appreciate that. I really do. And you've done such fantastic work. I've learned a lot from you. And what advice would you give somebody who wants to start a podcast?
Whew. Make sure that you have your life vest on because it is deep waters out there.
Hmm.
You can get lost and drown very easily. We first started the podcast in 2017, there weren't a lot of audio dramas really. There were some, but I mean there was. So we came in, I think, at the right timing, and niche, because 4 years later, it's like, whoosh, there's like a gazillion audio dramas now. So you can really get lost in the sea of different shows. Podcasting is hard because, like you said, it's because there's so many of them. Everyone's pitching for the same sponsors. So if you're going to go into podcasting, either go in with the mindset that you have sponsors in mind that you're going to pitch to already, and your podcast is geared towards catering to that audience, or not care about the sponsorship aspect, which is like what you're doing, and just do it because you're passionate about it.
Yeah.
One or the other. Because if you're going in with the same, well, I'm going to do my passion, but I want people to pay me for it, it's gonna be a real grind, honestly.
It's so true. And it's crazy how if you have a sponsor, it can affect your mindset, especially if you're just worried about, let me just get the sponsorship. Let me get money. Let me get monetization. Let me do a Patreon. I just want the money. It really changes your mindset when it comes to the content because then you're just, I feel like it's different. Like if you have that money mindset of just making money, then your content is not going to be there 100% because then all you're thinking is, let me fly by this episode so I know where to put the sponsorship and get my money type ordeal. Opposed
I'll share
to,
one. I'll share one story with you. I'll
yeah.
share one story. So there was this one that we were going back and forth. This sponsor, and they went to the trouble of listening to some of the show, whatever, because they wanted to do their research on us before they decided they were going to sponsor us. And so the woman writes me back and she says, well, you don't, the women that are portrayed in your show are portrayed in a very negative light, and therefore we decline, right? So I didn't respond, but I thought it. I was like, well, can you name me anybody that's in the show that is put in a positive light? Because it's a pretty gray area, man. I mean, I can't think of one character on the show that you can say, okay, that's the good guy. And that's by design. The show isn't meant to be that. There is no clear good guy. There are people that love the king and what he does, but he's like, oh man, this guy he's just a crazy, he's gonna call it like he sees it. But Silas he's kind of like a tyrant, he kills people. So it's like, is he really the good guy? It's like it makes you wonder. Like, who is the good guy and who is the bad guy? Because the bad guys do things and the good guys do bad things. So it's like the world is kind of like that, don't you think?
Yeah. Some people, like, I don't know. I feel like it's a different podcast. If there's so much I could say about it.
it's
you
it's
know,
by design. It's by design. It's supposed to make you think that.
and it's up to the creator, and it's more of like that's what the creator wanted to portray. It's it's what people are liking. For the fact that you are into 4 seasons, it goes to show you something is working. People are enjoying that type of theme, they're enjoying that type of drama. So I
Well,
respect all creators out there.
I do, and it's like I don't really think too much about the whole gender role thing. I don't. I
Mhm.
think that in the story it fits better that way. I mean,
Mhm.
Silas trusts his top general mind is a woman. I mean, Shelley. I mean, she is as powerful a woman as you're going to find.
Mhm.
If you're in season 2, then you will start seeing Shelley develop more as a really powerful woman. I mean, she is equal to him in many ways.
Mhm.
In fact, he falls in love with her. Not to, spoiler alert. And like that's how it is. I mean, I can't. What am I gonna? What do you want? It's not like a. I want it to be somewhat realistic. I mean, some things about it, because there's so many other storylines that are going on that are so weird, and conspiracy theories and all this. There's got to be some semblance of, okay, you've got a little element of romance here. There's people cheating on each other. It's like there's stuff going on that people can relate to.
Yeah, definitely. Well, you're doing a fantastic job, and you obviously got another award coming soon, right beside that one on your windowsill. You're
So
gonna
that's what
have
you
to.
got to think. That's what you got to think, Angelica. Sponsor or no sponsors, we got one of those now.
Exactly, exactly. And I was so excited to see you win, and I was just like, "Oh my gosh,
I
I
was
gotta
so
tag
happy to see
him."
you, man. I mean, you won. It's like she deserves it, man. She's a hard worker. Like I see you out there pumping and cranking up those episodes, man. And like you don't stop, and you're just. I'm like you're dedicated to this. I'm like, she's. Cause I see so many people start up high, and they're kicking, and then they just whoop, they just drop. But
Well,
you
thank you.
keep going and keep going and keep going and keep going. You gotta love that, man. I admire that about you.
Well, thank you so much. I really appreciate it. It was just, I'm still in shock. Like, I'm just like, I think when it comes in, that's where I'm gonna be like, oh my gosh, this is real. Like, I got
Yeah.
it. I got it in my hands. But
But see, here's the thing: like you know it now before the trophy arrives. I didn't even realize it until the trophy arrived. There's a video of that, by the way.
I saw that. I
You saw the
remember. Yeah.
video? Because I had a feeling. I'm like, wait a minute, hold on a second. I'm gonna film this and get my reaction. But yeah, so at least you're anticipating it when it arrives. You're gonna be like, yeah. You're gonna be like, you're gonna feel those butterflies.
For real. Oh my gosh. Well, JV, this has been so much fun. And thank you for coming back onto the podcast. And I can't believe that this video is going to be on YouTube. And, just I'm so happy for you guys. It's been such a crazy journey for the both of us, especially with 2020.
Yeah,
And one last question.
sure.
What are you doing for fun during this pandemic?
Ooh. I mean, aside from like trying to come up with all these weird story
Aside
ideas for
from that.
films. Yeah, it's funny. I was, well, fun. Yeah. Well, that's one of the things my wife and I are going to start doing more, bowling and getting out there, because remember, everything was closed for a
Yeah.
long time. So now, like, some of the bowling alleys are opened up back up, and there's things are starting to loosen up. So we're gonna start going to the malls again, and
Yeah.
maybe go to the theater and catch a show. I really would love to see a stage show, but it doesn't look like that's gonna happen. With
Mhm.
Broadway closing, and I think some of the other theater houses. Remember, I was a theater critic,
Yeah.
so I used to go to a lot of live plays, and that just stopped. So I mean, I would really love to catch a live play, but I don't know if that's gonna happen. So I got to resort to bowling and malls. That's for her fun. That's for her fun. Okay. But I'm sure I'm gonna find stuff I like. It's all good.
For sure.
Everyone's gonna be. If she's happy, everybody's happy. I'm happy. Everything's good.
Exactly. Exactly.
So now this is the thing for you. Now I got a question for you before we go. shower karaoke for you now that you're a Latin podcast winner. You got to think about the song that you're going to be tuning in that shower to celebrate your happiness.
Oh my gosh. There's quite a bit of songs. I don't
I'm not
know.
putting you on the spot. You can add to that later.
I gotta add to it. Exactly. Well, why don't you come back on Shower Karaoke?
I would be delighted to come back to shower karaoke.
We're
But
season 2.
I'm gonna have a bottle of whiskey before I do though. It's gonna be a lot of fun. In fact, I think I remember talking to you, Coupon Queen, about that. That we were gonna drink something before doing the show.
I'm down
So it
for
would
that.
be like, you remember that or you don't remember that?
I'm down for that, and I think I remember. But have you been listening to season 2 though?
You mean they're the season 2 of the shower?
Yeah, Shower Karaoke.
Am
It's okay.
Am I gonna be put on the spot if I'm afraid.
Well, if you haven't, that's fine, because we made a little bit of changes, and I've been singing live.
Oh, I missed that.
Mm-hmm.
But it's not live anymore. If it's already pre-recorded, right?
True, but there's no. For me, if there's no, let's play the clip. It's more, I'm just gonna start singing it.
So this is gonna be thrown at you like they do in the Philippines. Karaoke is like serious business over there.
Oh, I know. I know that. That's for sure. We had family friends growing up who were from the Philippines, and I was just like, this is a real thing. Like every Friday night and Saturday night, they're karaokeing all the way till like 3 a.m.
There actually, I think there's actually, I heard on another podcast, they were talking about that there are actually murders that take place because of karaoke. They're that serious about it. Like literally people will fight in the bars or sometimes they shoot each other. Wow. No kidding. Like seriously, they will. If you go up there, like there's this one song that I think it was I'm not kidding you. Okay. There's the Frank Sinatra, My Way. It's like banned from karaoke in the Philippines because they're so serious about that song that if you sing it wrong, they will literally beat you up or kill you. Not kidding. People have been shot because they didn't do it right.
Well, I'm not going to go to the Philippines and sing karaoke. No way. I'll have their food, but I won't sing karaoke.
I'm telling you, when we stop this, go and Google that. Google it. I'm telling you, you're going to freak out. You're going to be like, whoa, the people are serious about that over there. Like, I'm not going to do that. So if you promise not to shoot me if I sing it wrong, I'll do it.
No, I won't do that. Well, I cannot wait to have you back for season 2 of Shower Karaoke.
Then I'm going to get caught up for sure.
Congratulations
to you, Angelica. Well deserved.
Thank you. But come on, 2 times in a row, like 2019 and 2020. That's amazing.
If we pick up the Audioverse Awards, I'm going to be like, pinch me.
Yeah.
If I didn't have enough haters before, I definitely will then. Lord knows I got haters, man.
You deserve it. You deserve all the awards because you guys work extremely hard, and the fact that you picked up a good team to, display these characters, the production is amazing. I'm so happy for you. And
what would be great for season 5?
What?
That you play a role in it.
Oh.
Dun, 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 dun. Angelica plays a role in season 5 as a character. Dun, 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 dun.
That would be awesome. I would love to do that.
You heard it here first.
That's right. Well, JV, tell the listeners where we can find you.
Very simple. Twitter @King Asilas. Facebook, the same thing. Instagram, the same thing. Maybe you can put that down in your show notes. The Rise of King Asilas.com. And if you're not sure how the spelling goes, Angelica is going to put it right there in the description.
Well, thank you so much again, JV Torres. And thank you to our listeners and viewers for tuning in on another episode of A Little Bit of Everything with me. And that's all we have for now.
Yep. Don't forget iTunes podcasts. Anywhere you go to get podcasts, we're there.